When I was growing up, not far from here, in Ingleside, Illinois, my grandparents lived, and my grandfather, they lived on about an acre of land on, at the time was called Squaw Creek, in between Long Lake and Fox Lake, and so they had some waterfront property, and growing on that property were grapes, and so my grandfather got it in his head to make wine one year, and so he sent us grandchildren out to pick the grapes and to get them into him, and he crushed them, and he added, he racked it so that you could get all the stems and the skins and the seeds out. And he added sugar, added yeast, and he covered it up and this was in a ceramic crock that he bought and was built to ferment the grape juice into wine. And in his mind, he was going to have some fine wine in the future. Well, after about a year of this, he decided to crack it open and bottle it, and he bottled it. And for Thanksgiving that year, he got out his homemade bottle of wine, thinking it was going to be a wonderful wine that he would have with the Thanksgiving dinner. He even said to the grandkids, "I'll even let you have a taste of this wine that you helped make." And we did, and it was an exceptionally fine glass of vinegar that he made. Making wine is relatively simple. Grapes, you cultivate the grapes, you crush them, you put them in the vat with yeast, and you let it ferment, and then you bottle it, and then you have wine. But it's not easy. It certainly is not easy, and it can turn on you real fast, as my grandfather found out. Jesus talks about vineyards in some of his parables, and in the scriptures, especially the Old Testament, God compares his people to fine wine. And elsewhere in the Old Testament as well as the New Testament, we will have a wedding feast in heaven that will feature fine wine as well as rich food. The church, the people of God, those who believe in Jesus, are like a fine wine. It takes cultivation, growing. It takes an outside agent. This would be the grace of God to save us from our sins. It takes some removal of the old skins that you're not going to need, and the dirt and the debris of life. God removes that through our salvation. But it takes time. Patience is what it takes. And God has an infinite amount of it. He loves us with an infinite love, and he has the long view for us. And he's going to make us into a fine wine. But it may take some time. It may go through some harsh actions like crushing of the grapes. But he is going to make us into a fine wine and then bring us to heaven at the end of our life here. But in the meantime, like a fine wine, it is meant to be shared. It is meant to be a delight in other people's lives. And that's what we do as followers of Jesus. We're like a fine wine. We bring delight to other people, and we share the good news of Jesus with them. That's something to think about on this edition of Boundless Hope. God's richest blessings to you. I'll see you again next time.